The HTC One is the follow-up to last year's One X and One X Plus, which were some of our favorite phones of the year. This year, HTC has taken its One brand strategy and simplified in the same fashion as the iPad or MacBook. While HTC hasn't confirmed that it will take this approach every single year, it appears that the company is poised to release a new One flagship phone with no difference in title outside of the year it was released. But more importantly than brand, how is the actual device itself? For starters, it's a marvelous handset to behold, with gorgeous industrial design that involves an intricate machining process beginning with a single solid piece of anodized aluminum, the grade of which is even higher than what you'll find on the iPhone 5. But there's so much more to the One than just its overall design. For instance, HTC also throws in a 4.7-inch 1080p display, a 1.7 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 600 processor, a 4-megapixel Image Chip 2 ultra-pixel camera on the back, and a 2.1 megapixel front-facing cam on the front, MHL, NFC, DLNA, dual-band Wi-Fi with AC support, Bluetooth 4, 2 gigs of RAM, an infrared blaster, a 2300 mAh battery, your choice of 32 or 64 gigs, and plenty of other top-of-the-line specs. The One follows the pyramid design strategy that we've seen on the Windows Phone 8X and the Butterfly. This process stacks the largest components up front in a pyramid fashion, which allows the phone to be thinner and offer a sleek and natural curve in the back that makes it easy to hold in our hands. As we mentioned earlier, the entire phone was crafted out of a single block of aluminum, with polycarbonate injected into the edges and 2 major strips on the back. It looks elegant and classy, and it also makes us a little less worried about its durability if we were to drop it. The display is covered with Gorilla Glass 2, and 1080p movies on that display look absolutely phenomenal. Also up front, you'll notice a set of boom sound speakers both on top and bottom. These speakers are set up for a solid stereo experience while you're watching movies or even just listening to music or taking calls on loudspeaker. They're capable of blasting Beats audio, which results in a much fuller sound than anything we've heard on a smartphone yet. The power button on top doubles as an infrared receiver and transmitter, so you can use the One as a remote. Additionally, the micro USB port on the bottom can be used for MHL, so you can hook your phone up to any HD TV and watch movies straight from the device. Another huge change on the One is the way that it handles its imaging. HTC has come up with what it's calling an ultra-pixel sensor, which basically means each pixel is much larger than the standard phone camera, which thus is capable of taking in more light. In order to do this, HTC needed to drop the resolution down to 4 megapixels, which means that when you zoom in on a picture, you have less pixels and, well, fewer details. Daylight images still look very crisp when you view them at regular size though. The One also features optical image stabilization and a lower aperture than most cameras. As you can imagine, this makes low light shots look absolutely stunning because they're able to grab so much errant light. The HTC One is now our go-to device anytime we need to take the best possible pictures from a smartphone. The One can also take 1080p video, and you can record it using HDR as well if you prefer. But one of the most interesting parts of what the camera can do is Zoe. Short for zoetrope, this lets you take several burst shots and a 3-second 1080p video at the same time. And the One puts it all together into a cool little 3-second clip that's viewable on your phone. And it can be uploaded and shared with family and friends. Think of them as those moving pictures seen in Harry Potter. While it doesn't sound all that useful at first, we actually found some clever uses. For example, the phone can take all of your Zoes and still shots from a specific event or date. Let's say a Disneyland vacation, and does some slick professional style editing and slaps together a 30-second clip with your shots synced to music. Once that's done, you can upload them to YouTube or a special URL that you can hand out to whomever you'd like. Second, there's a feature called the Zoe Share, which lets you take up to 10 shots and put them together as a collage, again on a special URL. The HTC One comes with Android 4.1, but you may not be able to tell right away because HTC adds its custom skin to it called Sense 5. The biggest added feature to Sense 5 is Blink Feed, which looks like a combination of Flipboard and Windows Phone Live tiles. In Blink Feed, you see a series of windows of different sizes, each one representing a social media status update or a website post. You can scroll through them as a means to catch up on any news you've missed while you've been away from your phone. You can choose which feeds you want. For example, tons of sites are featured, one of which is Engadget, and there's also support for Twitter, Facebook, and many other services. You can't do emails or notifications yet, but in the future an SDK will be provided which will hopefully allow these activities and make it even more useful to power users. The sad news is, it can't be completely disabled, but at least you can change the default homepage so it doesn't pop up all the time. Sense 5 also features a modernized font and a sleek new look all the way around, including a new app tray with vertically scrollable grids, the ability to change grid size, and the option to place apps in folders. You'll also find a new kid mode that lets your kids use your phone without you worrying about important information getting deleted or moved around. Overall performance was great thanks to the quad-core Snapdragon 600 chipset. Everything looked incredibly smooth with no lags or stutters. Gaming was definitely an enjoyable experience as well, with graphic-intensive titles like Shadowgun, Riptide, and Real Racing 3 running with few, if any, frame skips. It almost feels as though we're playing on a console. Overall, the HTC One is one of the best phones we've reviewed to date. It's crafted exceptionally well, the display is beautiful to look at, the camera is much better than the megapixel count says, and it performs like a charm. We also like most of the firmware, though we're still not convinced that blink feed is worthwhile. This is Brad Mullen with Engadget, and if you're interested in learning more about the One, our review goes into a lot more detail. Check it out at Engadget.com.